The billionaire had everything money could buy, yet that afternoon, he sat beneath the bright daytime windows of a small downtown cafe wearing a faded jacket, worn shoes, and a wedding ring he had not earned. Around him, strangers were searching for love, but he was searching for something money had never been able to purchase, proof that someone could care about him when they believed he had nothing. His name was Cassian Vale, a 43-year-old technology billionaire whose face regularly appeared on business magazines. He owned skyscrapers, private aircraft, luxury hotels, and a company valued at billions, but after losing his wife several years earlier, he had slowly become convinced that every person who approached him wanted something. He had recently ended an engagement after discovering that his fiancée had secretly been discussing his wealth with her friends, and the experience left him wondering whether anyone could ever see the man beneath the fortune. So Cassian made a reckless decision. He would attend a speed dating event disguised as a broke widower. No expensive watch. No tailored suit. No driver waiting outside. No famous name. He wore an old brown jacket, inexpensive trousers, scuffed shoes, and carried a simple canvas bag. He even told the organizers that he was a widowed father struggling to rebuild his life. He expected rejection. What he did not expect was that one woman would look at him with kindness when she believed he had nothing to offer. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that a person's heart matters more than their bank account, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this story, leave a comment, and subscribe to Echo Tale Story. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to you. The woman who caught his attention was Maribel Rowan, a 38-year-old single mother who worked as an assistant at a community learning center. She arrived late, slightly breathless, carrying a small handbag and checking her phone every few minutes because her 9-year-old son, Tobin, was home with his grandmother. Maribel wore a simple blue blouse, dark trousers, and a pair of comfortable shoes that had clearly seen better days. She did not look like someone who had come expecting romance. She looked like someone who had spent years putting everyone else first and had finally decided to give herself one evening. Cassian watched her apologize to the event coordinator for being late. Then he watched her take the last empty chair across from him. When she looked at his worn clothes, there was no disappointment in her expression. There was no calculation. She simply smiled. Their first few minutes were ordinary. Cassian told her he was a widower named Adrian, that he had a young daughter who lived with relatives, and that money was tight after his wife's death. He expected her to become uncomfortable when she heard that. Instead, Maribel quietly said that grief could make even ordinary days feel heavy and that he should not feel ashamed of struggling. Cassian stared at her, unable to answer immediately. During the next rotation, another woman asked about his income. When Cassian admitted he was unemployed and doing temporary repair work, her smile disappeared. Another asked whether he owned a home. When he said he rented a small apartment, she quickly lost interest. One woman even laughed and said she was looking for someone more established. Cassian had expected these reactions, but experiencing them firsthand hurt more than he imagined. Then his chair rotated back toward Maribel. She noticed that he had become unusually quiet. Without asking intrusive questions, she pushed a glass of water toward him and told him that he looked like he needed it. Cassian smiled faintly and said he was fine. Maribel shook her head and told him that people always said they were fine when they were not. Then she explained that after her husband died, she had spent years pretending she could handle everything alone. She had learned that being strong did not mean refusing help. Sometimes strength meant admitting that your heart was tired. Cassian felt something inside him shift. He had spent years surrounded by people who praised his success, yet this woman, who believed he was broke, had noticed his sadness within minutes. As the event continued, Maribel discovered that Cassian had been carrying a small photograph inside his wallet. It was supposedly a picture of his late wife. In reality, it was a photograph of Cassian's younger sister, whom he had lost years earlier, but he had chosen the story because he wanted to understand what it felt like to be treated as an ordinary grieving man. Maribel did not ask to see it, She simply told him that memories were sometimes the only things grief could not steal. For the first time in years, Cassian wanted to tell the truth. But fear stopped him. When the event ended, Maribel gathered her things and stood. She told Cassian that she enjoyed speaking with him and that she would be happy to meet again, but she also understood if he was not ready. She then reached into her purse and handed him a small folded note. Cassian opened it after she left. It contained only a phone number and one sentence: "You don't have to be rich to deserve someone who listens." Cassian stared at those words for a long time. The next morning, he made a decision that frightened him more than any business deal ever had. He would find Maribel again. Not as Adrian. As himself. Within hours, Cassian's assistant discovered everything about Maribel through perfectly legal public information. She worked at a neighborhood learning center, volunteered at a food pantry, and spent most of her evenings helping children with homework. She lived modestly and had never appeared in any society pages. Cassian learned that her son Tobin loved astronomy and dreamed of becoming an engineer. Cassian could have sent gifts. He could have bought the building where she worked. He could have solved every problem in her life with a single phone call.